Hello, welcome. My name is Mission Solo, not to be confused with SoloMission. SoloMission can't be held accountable for anything here. We're completely different people. And the reason is because today we're talking about something all spooky and controversial. It's PvP. Well, PvP updates, to be more particular. Bounty Hunter version 500,074 is coming to the game. There's a new blog about the design of Bounty Hunter. Now, the Bounty Hunter saga, it spans back all the way to the 10th of December 2007. I have a core memory of crying my eyes out that Runescape was ruined, free trade was removed, PKing is gone, and we've been left with this Bounty Hunter crater that started off the whole Bounty Hunter journey. And I've actually played through pretty much every era and iteration of Bounty Hunter ever since then. So I definitely have an interest in Bounty Hunter. This account is a pure, which was literally made for Bounty Hunter. So I care a lot about this content. I may not be the biggest PvPer ever, but it is something that I've got on my radar. I know some of you might not care about Bounty Hunter or anything like that, but there are a lot of interesting mechanics, rewards, processes discussed in this video. So I'll try and make it so you don't really need a strong understanding of Bounty Hunter. Let's take a trip down memory lane. Now, this reminiscent ramble won't necessarily just be for the sake of it. It provides context to where the ideas and decisions of all the million versions of Bounty Hunter have come from over the years. Now, originally, the Bounty Hunter crater was put into the game, and that was the only place you could PvP. Everything was removed in the wilderness, you couldn't attack people, and that was to combat free trade. Now, this evolved in a way. First, it was multi-combat. You could only attack people from level 3 to 50, 50 to 100, 100 to 126, which was broke bad because everyone would be focused towards the top of their level bracket. Now, they're getting rid of that system with the craters they're going to talk about later. First, it was multi, then it was single. Both had issues. You got a pickup penalty if you picked up loot from people that weren't your target and tried to leave. That was 3 minutes. And then if you killed your target, you could leave with the loot. That was the whole system with the craters. And that's what Bounty Hunter has been birthed out of. You get assigned a target, it's incentivized that you go and kill that target and not kill the other people. We then moved from the craters and expanded outwards. Bounty Hunter was made so you could go all over the wilderness, and this update was around the same time that PvP worlds were introduced to the game, where you could PK everywhere. And what accompanied that was the EP system, earning potential. For those of you that don't know, if you had above 76k risk and stood in a dangerous area, you would gain earning potential over time, which was just a little percentage sort of stat on your screen. And then when you killed somebody, the game would generate extra loot. Now, some of this could be incredibly profitable. It wasn't very balanced whatsoever, but people have very fond memories over this. Yeah, I'll hold my tongue over how terrible that is. But, okay, so that was the next era. Then we move into the old school era where we had Bounty Hunter version 1. You'd attack someone, you killed someone, you get their loot. And you also carry these emblems that upgrade when you get a kill. You use these upgraded emblems to trade into a shop to get points, to trade points, to buy items. Tradables, all that sort of thing. Now, this is where the core of the issue of BH starts creeping in. Everyone would be boosting and killing their own accounts for these emblems, bot farms, all the rest, which inevitably got Bounty Hunter version 1 removed. It got brought back as a version 2, which was still boostable, so it got removed. Got brought back as a version 3, which was still boostable for money, and it got removed. And then it's not been here for 3 years or whatever it's been. So that is the history with Bounty Hunter. Sprinkled in, there has been rework talks over time about making it more interesting and stuff, but it's been a bit of a car crash in terms of drama. Although in years gone by, it certainly was the hub for PvP activity and definitely served a very good purpose, which is why they want to bring it back. Bounty Hunter is coming back. Now that's a phrase that fills you with joy or dread. Here we go again, boys and girls. So they have outlined some design pillars, they're calling them, of what this Bounty Hunter should be. Recapture edge style PvP, which is no overheads, no sweaty NHing, no freezes, that sort of thing. And it's good because it's a good entry funnel into PvP for less experienced people. and it's often been blamed that Jagex has focused way too much on NHing over the years, which means that everyone's being too much of a greaseball. Now, the second one is quick matchmaking. The third one is unique and attractive rewards. So we've got these 3 design pillars, but these 3 design pillars are matchsticks in comparison to what should be the main design pillar, which is this bounty hunter cannot possibly get removed because it's being boosted and abused for money. That is like, that goes above every other single thing. Let's not teach you this lesson again, old man. We can't have this being removed because it's incredibly abusable. That is just the one thing this bounty hunter can't have because it's embarrassing, bro. It's embarrassing. So let's think about that when we're designing Bounty Hunter. The Bounty Hunter creator, possibly the biggest difference with this version of Bounty Hunter and the previous ones in old school. We're rolling back the years. Everyone's getting slammed back into this creator again. You thought you could escape? Nah. So they're getting rid of Bounty Hunter all over the wilderness, and we're just going to be inside these craters. And this gives them better control over what happens here, as they go on to say. There's not going to be any binding spells, there's not going to be any protection prayers used, and no teleblock used. So it's going to be very focused on edge style PvP, all in this one small area, hitting each other with magic short bows and using special attacks and all that sort of thing. Which I think, if they're going for these design pillars, is the right move. Part of me is kind of sad because the thing I used to enjoy about Bounty Hunter was teleporting and finding a random target doing some random thing in some corner of the wilderness and like having to fight in a weird situation. But that doesn't really fit with the design pillars. So I think this is a decent way to do it. So the idea is you spawn somewhere around the outside of this arena, and then in the center there's a safe area with a bank, with stat recharge pools, with spec pools, all that sort of thing. So really promoting that fast pace, you can get straight back into a fight action, which I am actually a big fan of. Like having to teleport away to the jewelry arena, your house, wherever it has been in years gone by, not so good. I know it's going to be a crater, but I would hope to see some sort of scenery or different terrains in here. Just something to make it look a bit different in the different spots, so you could have iconic areas rather than just a black floor of like clan wars or something like that. Yeah, I don't want it to be too depressing inside. One thing that does immediately ring the alarm bells for me though is this seems like it's going to be a fairly concentrated area of activity. Does the game engine do that well with that sort of pressure? Is it not going to be insanely laggy? At least when you have the full wilderness, you have people spread out a bit more than you would in this system. I mean, maybe you could make the lobby quite big, but it would have to be quite big to negate a lot of those issues. I don't know. I just think, it's going to be very laggy in here. Maybe you have multiple worlds. Who knows? I don't know. Overall, I'm kind of indifferent it being a crater rather than the whole wilderness. If it helps solve the issues that need to be solved, then obviously I'm down. But yeah, I kind of miss it being over the whole wilderness. I can't lie. Sculling! What's going to happen when you skull? There's multiple different options that we can discuss and choose from. But in my opinion, sculling should work as it does in the normal wilderness. Let's try and get some continuity across PvP content. I think that would be very good. Matchmaking, how the game decides to give you a target. Now, typically in the past, this has been plus or minus 5 combat levels of your own, but they're talking about adding customization options so you can expand that range, and I'm a big fan of that. If you can take it into your own hands, why shouldn't you be able to do plus or minus 20 if people are both consenting to be a plus or minus 20? Then I'm down for that. I think that's good. They go on to talk about skipping and all that sort of stuff. Seems fairly similar to Bounty Hunters of old. You can skip a certain amount of targets before you get a penalty. And then we get into the dodgy ground of thinking that these systems could help combat potential boosting. I'm telling you right now, you can't combat potential boosting through changing the matchmaking system because people can emulate normal players. The boosters, don't underestimate these guys. Where there's a will, there's a way. They have so many accounts. So it's definitely never going to be a fix to boosting the matchmaking changes. Going rogue is when you attack somebody that isn't your target. I think that should still be a thing, obviously, and maybe some slight consequences for going rogue, but I don't think there needs to be massive punishments for it. At the end of the day, you're in a PvP area. You should be expecting to get attacked by people. All right, strap yourselves in, everybody, because we're about to talk about the reward systems. Emblems. Now, emblems were prevalent in the most successful version of Bounty Hunter in old school. In Bounty Hunter version 1, you would PK with an emblem. Say you have a tier 1. When you kill somebody, it upgrades to a tier 2 through to tier 10. Now, these upgrades don't scale linearly. Every time you get an upgrade, it's worth more and more points when you trade it into a shop. And if you die, you lose your emblem, so it really promotes going for kill streaks. Now, maybe my opinion is unpopular, but I actually really dislike the emblem system because it focuses on those kill streaks, and therefore we have to balance the entire thing around kill streaks, rather than just the average player that maybe kills somebody, dies, then kills somebody, then dies. They're not really benefiting at all off this system. So I don't like that. And then also, I don't like the fact that it just convolutes and complicates everything. We've got these emblems to think about, we've got points to think about, we've got this, that, and the other. Why don't we just unify it under one currency, just points? I just don't really see the need for emblems. Bounty Hunter points. Now, when you kill your target, eventually you wind up with some points to spend in a shop. I mean, if you want to go through this convoluted emblem way, you can do that, but maybe we could just get points straight away. Crazy. Talking about kill streaks here, again, I just don't think kill streaks... If kill streaks weren't that significant in the points per kill, say if you got 10 points for a normal kill, and then you did get an extra 3 for being on a kill streak, then maybe I don't mind it too much. But say if you get 1 point per kill normally, and then you get 3 points because you're on a kill streak, we're just balancing it around people that just are safing all day. It doesn't promote fun PvP where you don't mind dying. I think having people not mind too much if they die is great because it promotes more people getting into it, more noobs, more entry level, and as well with the high level people, just take more risks, more chances, more fun. I don't know. Is sitting on green bar that enjoyable? I don't think it is, really. I do much prefer this Slayer idea where you can get bonus points based on kill milestones. So when you get 10 kills, say you just get a bunch of extra points, like a Slayer task. All right, this has just come to me. How about we don't call it Bounty Hunter points? How about somebody, when they die, your target, they literally just drop blood money, and then that's the currency you spend in the store. It's literally blood money, untradeable. You get all the bonuses. You can get bonus blood money when you're on a streak and stuff, and it pops up in your chat box saying you got bonus for this reason. And you just have currency that you get as a physical drop on the floor that you can stack up in your bank, and it looks super nice. You can trade it in for actual rewards. It's currency for rewards. I love that idea. Let's make it happen. Oh no, guys. Oh no. Monetary reward. No! Don't make us teach you this lesson again, old man. Come on now. GP per hour, spawning GP out of nowhere. Have we not learned anything from all the past bounty hunters? Why are we just injecting extra money into the game from thin air? Does this, why are we even, think about that main design pillar. This just please, just don't let this get removed because it's being boosted by gold farmers. Why are we even opening the door to them? Why are we giving any money from this? If it's anything significant for the average player, then it's significant enough for somebody to boost it. And you can't get around people boosting it because they can just behave like an average player. Oh no, man. Earning potential system, you're trolling me. You're actually trolling me. Right, and I know a lot of people are going to dislike me for my little rant that I just had for a minute there. And they think that you should be able to get extra monetary gain from doing PvP. And it's not affecting everything that much. But you've just got to think, we don't want this thing to get removed. And that's the one thing that got it removed, is having this extra money out of nowhere. There is a way around this where you can essentially get more money by doing PvP, BH, all that sort of stuff. And it's via untradeable consumables. So say you go and you spend your points or your blood money in a shop and you buy some untradeable food that is consumable. So when you're eating in your fights, you're not losing money. You're not having to buy those manta rays. You're not having to buy those anglerfish. You're not having to buy those super restores. And maybe, right, we could call this food and these potions that save you money because you're not using all these supplies. Maybe we could call them blighted versions of those things, and they'd be untradeable, and we could get them from the reward shop, and that would save us money, and that is kind of like making money from this content. oh wait, we tried that, and then they added them to the game as tradable. Like, this is why I don't know why. This is why I hate talking about Bounty Hunter, because these mistakes have been made before. Why? Let's not make them again. Let's have all the blighted stuff in this game should be untradeable. It should be untradeable from Last Man Standing. It should be an untradeable reward from Bounty Hunter. It just removes the farming element of it. Don't give monetary rewards from these things. The money, in quotation marks, is the money that you're saving by using these free untradeable supplies you can get as a reward from the minigame. Okay, let's presume that I'm on board with some form of monetary reward coming in. I still think this is a bad way to do it. Why don't we have like a wilderness mission that you can start for a certain amount of blood money? You can get a task scroll, and then in order to get the crate at the end, like a wilderness clue scroll type vibes, you're going to have stats. You're going to have to be able to cut the trees down, like in the worldy resource area, or you're going to have to kill a boss with certain gear, that sort of thing. You get a reward crate at the end, and then maybe you can get some monetary reward out of that in terms of loot. And that would stop it being abused in terms of pure gold farmers, because you'd have to get lots of different stats up to be able to do these missions. Maybe I still think that's a bad idea, but I think it's better than being able to just go to a shop and use your EP, or just getting something on the ground when you kill your boosted target or whatever. So there's that. And then, okay, right. Say I'm on board with EP, and we're looking at it. I'm trying to be as objective as possible here. We're going in, we're looking at all these things. I'm still of the belief that all this stuff can be boosted. And people will say maybe an argument against me is that, oh, we're in this small area, it's going to be self-regulating because you can just attack you can just attack the boosters. But okay, fine then. Tiny area. Okay, great. Tiny area. Tons of lag. And from the looks of it, you can just run in and out of the safe zone anyway. What's to stop people just having like loads of people on a DD all standing in the dangerous area, one tile off the safe zone? You can't even freeze them, you can't TB them. They've got high defense, high hit points builds. I don't know. I think the moment you underestimate these farmers is the moment you just lose. And it's the same thing with, oh, you can only get so much EP in a certain amount of time, and you can only get so much reward in a certain amount of time. That was kind of the same with the old system, but you can just cycle through logging in and logging out of so many accounts. It just slam the door in the face of this shit. Like, let's not entertain it. Okay, rewards. Here we go. Real rewards, which are all untradeable, or just effects that you can get, which I think is the main way we should go down here. Because you've got to remember, you're getting the reward of somebody's loot when you kill them. Like, people go in PvP at the GE all day without all these bonus extra EP and incentives and stuff. Like, people are doing this, so the rewards don't have to be crazy extra GP. So, we're talking about, there's some suggestions here. Ancient warrior equipment, so we're talking about Vesta, Statius, all that sort of stuff. Personally, I hated how these worked pre-EOC, because you'd kill somebody who was using very OP gear, and you'd get essentially nothing. So, I don't think it's good in that form. I feel like if they are to be introduced, you should be able to buy them from the shop, like the VLS and Last Man Standing, have to charge it with a large amount of coins that the person that then kills you will get when you lose the item when you die. I think that's the best way of doing it. I mean, I don't mind if they're degradable as well, but as long as the person killing you can get a lot of GP that you've had to use to repair the armor or whatever, obviously no GP is created there, but there's reward for the killer. I think that's the way to go with these things. One thing as well is, I would be, with tier 20 weapons and stuff, if you're like making an account, don't all of a sudden get 20 defense for this shit. Because what if bounty only gets removed? You've got to be playing with fire there if you're doing stuff like that. So I would be wary over changing your beloved accounts to equip these things for a fair while. Alright, this brings me on to the next one. Bounty Hunter specific weapon attachments / imbues. And this is my favourite thing by far out of this entire blog. I think you should be able to purchase the ability to imbue, say, a dragon dagger so it's more accurate, or it hits harder, or you get 5 specs maybe. All these different weird things. We could do wacky things with the dragon mace, the dragon longsword, the dark bow. So they're more on par with, say, an AGSG Maul, or all the classic metas you have of 1v1ing. Maybe you could get special auras where you hit higher at lower hit points. Maybe you get more accuracy in certain situations. Maybe you get better prayer drain. Maybe you could even choose to buy a lucky dip of something which would last for 20 minutes. You can PK with it for 20 minutes, and then you could go and spend your points or coins or blood money on another special ability. Or you could just imbue these things. I think maybe these imbues should be temporary, so it is encouragement to keep spending your blood money and points and stuff. So you're not just imbuing all your weapons and then you've got nothing else to spend on. So maybe temporary imbues, buffs, auras. I really love these ideas. Combat XP as a reward from using blood money / bounty hunter points / whatever else currency. I'm also a big fan of, especially if it's not going to be something crazy insane. So they give reference to pest control, which I think is fair enough. I'm really, really big fan of that and could get behind it. Can't see why not. And then they go on to talk about minus XP lamps. Ooh, don't know about these ones. If there's going to be minus XP lamps, it should be for a very small amount of XP, like a one-off thing. I would hate, as someone who's, it goes into this territory of the official account build thing where you have spent so long like crafting your account in a certain way, staying one defense, and then if someone could just all of a sudden minus off 20k defense XP and just, they're pure, but they haven't gone through any of the other hardships or the intricacies or what makes things interesting about being limited. I don't know. Minus XP lamps. Maybe if it's like to stop people getting 2 defense, I'd be for it. But other than that, I don't think so. Ornament kits and recolors, down. Untradeable attachments to put on your claws or whatever. 100% very good. So I think there are a lot of very good reward options in there, and we don't have to resort to doing this monetary GP reward. I know I keep going on about it, but I think that's a pitfall that could really spoil what could potentially be a very nice update for PvP here. That's the end of the blog. Lots of interesting things in there. If I had my way, I'm not necessarily convinced at the need for a creator here. I kind of did like BH being in the entire wilderness. I think they're mainly concerned about boosters, but we can just alleviate that concern by having no flipping GP rewards. I would love to see a line or a rift created at like level 7 or something. Below level 7, it's edge style. There are no overheads, there are no freezing spells. Everyone can just opt in to that style of PKing. It's very accessible and beginner friendly. And then beyond the rift, the rest of the wilderness just operates how it normally does. You can have NHing, because a lot of people did enjoy NHing in the old style of BH. It was a reasonable portion of it, and the functionality already exists. All the people below level 5 can just select not to have deep wilderness targets or have that turned on by default, and all the deep worldy guys can choose to have deep worldy targets enabled. So it kind of already worked. So I would like to see separation there. Maybe that's just I'm biased because I like NHing. As for the reward systems, I really want to keep it simple. Let's not confuse people. It's supposed to be like an entry level accessible style mini game bounty hunter. Blood money on kills, and you get different amounts of blood money based on a variety of factors. But at the end of the day, it's just very simple. You get this currency for killing your target, and then you can spend it in a shop. No to emblems, it's too confusing. No to EP. Additional confusion, plus the fact that you're generating GP, excites the boosters. They get happy. BH has a bigger chance of being removed and being controversial, so not a fan of that. But other than that, all the untradeable rewards are great. Consumables, XP, buffs, imbues, auras. I would love to see that. This has been an interesting vlog, to say the least. Hopefully something good can come out of this. If you've enjoyed my opinions, they are just opinions. I'm not the greatest PvPer of all time. People are more experienced. That's the bell going right there. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. Subscribe if you did, and I will see you in another ramble soon, potentially.